Should you be eating late at night if you're trying to lose fat? There's a really common myth that goes around. Even some of my clients that are on board always ask me this: what time is the last time I should be having my meal? Or is there a certain time I should be eating after? Can I eat after 8 p.m.? Seems to be this really common myth that if you eat after 8 p.m. you are going to inflate like a bloody balloon. It's the stupidest thing ever, because it doesn't work that way. Of course, with science, the only way that you will gain weight is if you consume more calories than you are burning. So essentially, if you're in a calorie surplus. So as long as you are eating in a calorie deficit, you will lose fat. The foods that you would normally eat in calorie deficit, if you eat them all of a sudden late at night, they are not going to change in calories. Say for example, you eat the exact same thing throughout a day, but you eat everything before 8 p.m. at night, and then you eat the exact same thing on another day, but it's a bit more, some of it's after 8 p.m. The calories are not going to be different just because of the time. Food's not like a shapeshifter. It doesn't just change calories and multiply by 100 as soon as it hits 8 p.m. Like an apple, if it's 7:59 and like an apple or a Kit Kat bar or a steak is like 200 calories, something like that, it's not just going to become 2,187 calories in the space of a minute when it hits 7:59 to 8 p.m. Doesn't work like that. And why does this myth exist then? It's more actually something that can be a helpful, mindful approach to people. So it doesn't suit everyone, but it's more of like it's not an approach that fits everyone, but it's been more used as a tactic to help people who, struggle with eating late at night and overeating and binge eating. And by having that cutoff time for when they can eat, it sort of, teaches them that it helps them stop eating after that time and overeating, because usually people will start, binge eating and all that at night time when they're in bed. They go out to the fridge, grab like maybe 10 bags of Maltesers and demolish all of them and still be hungry for more. So essentially by cutting off this, late night eating, it's influencing people to, have their dinner and have anything that they're going to have before 8 p.m. And of course, when it's sort of that time and you're not in bed and you're not, I guess in that sort of comfort eating mode, you're still very much in the swing of things, cooking dinner and all that, you're probably less likely to, go and just grab a Kit Kat out of the thing while you're cooking dinner or when you've just eaten dinner. But definitely later on when you're all settled for bed, it's going to be a bit more of like an issue, you're like, oh, I could go for a bag of Maltesers. So this is essentially why this is a myth. It's essentially what it was created for, to be. It's, I guess, like similar to fasting in a way, right? Like you have a certain window that you eat in. As we say, no restricted diet will work long term. And realistically, the main cause of people having late night eating or, overeating it late at night is because during the day they're not eating enough. So when it gets to dinner time, they're starving and they eat all of their food for the day. They're trying to catch up on all their meals literally within the one sitting at night time. I have so many clients that when we onboarded them, that's the first thing they mentioned, that they just could eat a horse at night time and that they don't really eat much during the day because they're busy. And the simple fix for this is what I'm about to tell you guys. So listen up, I've got a few tips that you guys can use to actually prevent this late night snacking. Number one is eating proper meals during the day. Having high protein, high fiber, good volume for the calories that, of the food. Making sure you're getting good volume, something that's going to fill you up for the calories that it's giving you. Just so when it gets to night time, you're not feeling like you eat literally a horse and a house and I don't know, maybe the local football field goalpost or something like that. You could eat one of those, right? So if you're having more high protein food, which is the most satiating nutrient, as well as fiber as well, trust me, you will feel more full. It's the first thing my clients notice. As soon as they start focusing on protein every single meal, maybe except for dessert and some snacks, but as soon as all their main meals start to include more protein, they actually find that they're stuffed. They're eating in a calorie deficit and they're like, oh, well, I'm actually, full. I thought because I'm having less calories that I would be hungrier. But realistically, when you're having better quality foods with better volume, you're going to be more full. So you'll be surprised if you start focusing on protein. And that sort of ties into number two. Number two is allowing treats in moderation. So you're binge eating at night time, and that comes down to restriction most of the time. Some of the time it comes down to being just hungry in general, which is the overeating. But in terms of when you're overeating your favorite snacks and favorite foods that you probably shouldn't be overeating if you're trying to lose fat, it's usually because people are restricting themselves all the time. They're on, unsustainable fad diets where they completely cut out sugar, and then eventually gets to that one night where they've had a big day at work and they're really, they're starving and they're just like, surely one bag of Maltesers won't hurt, or like, a few Maltesers. Then they start, and then it just keeps going down and down and downhill more and more and more. They've eaten 10 bags of Maltesers. The local footy field goalposts maybe the football boots that they have as well, their pillow, everything. And this is where that whole cycle of restrict, binge, guilt, and then repeat just keeps going. So how can you actually allow for treats in moderation? Well, number 3, you can use our 20-cent shop approach. So on our program, the way that we keep our clients eating their favorite foods, as you can see on the screen, they've got some great results. They've lost 5 to 10 kilos in 90 days each. That's our guarantee. And they've done all this without cutting out their favorite foods. They eat their favorite foods daily, literally, I promise you. You can ask any of them. They are literally eating chocolate, ice cream, bloody burritos, all this stuff. Like, you know, they're having all their favorite foods in moderation on a daily basis, and they're still losing fat. So obviously there is a way that it can be done. So our 20-cent shop approach basically means that 20% of your daily calorie goal, say for example it's 2,000, is going to be used on, you know, these more, you know, your favorite foods, the foods that don't really support nutritional goals like chocolate, ice cream, all this stuff, right? So 20% of 2,000, example, is 400 calories, which is plenty of space if you use it wisely. The other 80% is purely just on foods that are going to support your nutritional goals, high protein, good volume for the calories, high fiber, and just generally, you know, aiming for somewhat healthy foods, right? Doesn't have to be completely clean and whole food. I understand people don't have the time to be, you know, pulling out the wooden chopping board and putting a whole, you know, cooked steak with eggs, avocado and all that on it. You know, people are busy. So sometimes you got to opt for a convenient option, but you can still get convenient options that suit your nutritional goals. There's plenty of options out there these days. But yeah, in summary, eating late at night will not stop you from losing fat. So eat at whatever time you like. I personally have had many, you know, phases where I've wanted to cut some fat, you know, whether it's for a boxing fight or whether it's for just in general, I just want to do a cut. And I have generally eaten at like 2 a.m. You know what I mean? Like, it's, people are completely different. People work to different hours. People, you know, have different preferences on when they want to eat, what they want to eat, and all this stuff, right? So as long as you are eating in calorie deficit, you will lose weight. But there's obviously some things that we can do, as I mentioned in this video, that will help you stick to that calorie deficit and, you know, maintain results long term and, you know, build habits that you can keep for a lifetime. If you're not confident in being able to do this yourself, let us help you. We do offer a free personalized game plan call, which essentially is a 20-minute, no pressure call. We'll do you up a free game plan for your fat loss phase, which will help you lose 5 to 10 kilos in 90 days, just like our clients, which you saw before. And this is all without cutting out your favorite foods, missing social events, or having to spend bloody 3 hours on the treadmill every night when you absolutely hate it. You can actually do some training you enjoy for once and actually build, you know, if you want to build some muscle while losing fat, you can actually get that toned look that you've been after. So yeah, if you want to claim this free game plan call, just go to my Instagram at landonquinn.coaching and just message me the word 8 p.m. so I know you came from this YouTube.